Hey everybody, this is herculespetix, founder, curator, docent, and gift shop employee of the herculespetix Academy of Comic Book Studies. Today we're going to be looking at Falls, the Gotham Rain, a 1992 comic written by Devin O'Leary and drawn by Jason Waskey, neither of whom I've heard of before or since. But I kind of would love to read more comics by these guys. Very odd little comic, especially the context of how it came out. It was published by Comico, but this is after Comico was bought out by Andrew Rev. From what I've read about that guy in the Comics Journal, seemed kind of like a smarmy, sleazy guy. He took Comico, which was one of the best independent companies in the 80s, and just kind of strip-mined it and put out all this direct, like, swimsuit issues of the superhero comics and just real crap. So that's what makes this really odd that this was published during that time. It's black and white. It's not very, like marketable, especially in that, 1992 market when Image was huge. It's basically like a weird noir tale. And, those weren't popular then. So I'm just curious, like, why they'd put this out. And I'm glad they did, though. It's a really interesting, weird little comic. You can almost tell by the art. Something's off here. But I think also very on. And let's check this out. This was one of those comics that was all through the 90s, was in quarter bins. I think that's where I got this. So Jason Waskey, very interesting art style. This is kind of like almost just abstract, this cityscape. But then there'll be panels that are like completely photorealistic. Then there'll be panels that are just kind of wonky and weird. It's all over the place. See, the cityscape. It's kind of really neat looking. This is another motif in the comic. The only color are these billboards that are basically tourist billboards, telling people to go away, go on vacation, leave the city. So we start off with this private eye named Vincent Dressler. And he's getting a phone call from a new client. He's going to go to head to their apartment. But basically, we're totally in that Sam Spade, typical hard-boiled dick world. So look at the chops he has, like just drawing the folds in this jacket and this face. Some of the panels are amazing in this. But then some are just kind of like almost crude, like unfinished. Yeah, I really like this art. Here's an example of like the typical hard-boiled dialogue. His narration is, I step onto the street, the sky breaks open, and the rain comes down like water from a broken sieve. The city is coughing and wheezing and sending up gas of steam like a giant with a head cold. I hate the rain. It's hard and cold and black, and it never stops. It's fallen every day of my life, but it still hasn't washed the streets clean. That's like a bouillabaisse of every like cliche from a hard-boiled book, like Dashiell Hammett or something. But I kind of like it. I think it's pretty decent writing. So it's weird from certain things he says. This city is like, it looks like 30s New York, right? But it's like some alternate reality. Just like little hints here and there. Like he talks about having to go to the white sector. And later on, he has to go to the red sector. And it's like, what? They don't have sectors in New York City, especially back in the 30s. So there's all these weird little hints they drop that this is not exactly our world. So it's the rich part of town. He goes up to meet the client, goes to her apartment. And this woman's name is actually Ms. Fatal. And she lives in this apartment with her son. They're both shut-ins. They never leave the apartment. That's why he had to go see her. She basically tells him her cousin, Racine, has run away, and he needs she needs him to find her because she's very worried about her being alone in this cold, hard city. Her parents were killed last month, and Miss Fatale's been taking care of her ever since. She's only 19, and so Miss Fatale's very worried. The only lead she has for him is that Racine has had a friend, Hope Little. So he's got to find her. Now, this is very interesting. As he's leaving, saying his goodbyes, I just thought this was like this weird, surreal touch, but this will make sense later. In this back room, there's this woman, like, all dressed up all sexy in a garter belt and a bra. And, you know, reading this the first time, you're like, what the fuck? What is that lady doing there? But we'll find out soon. When he steps out of the apartment, he finds himself in the middle of a political rally for Mayor Carter's. And he says, ain't that a funny thing? There was no election. Crazy damn city. So that's another thing. This city is basically a police state. And there's no elections. It's just the mayor rules as long as he wants to. So he hunts down Hope Little. He finds her old apartment. The landlady says, oh yeah, I remember that Racine woman. She lived with Hope, but they both moved out. She doesn't know where. He asks around the neighborhood. He goes to this deli, and the proprietor is apparently Alfred Hitchcock. And he tells Vincent that they both danced at the Hot Spot, a strip club in the red sector. See, look how she's drawn. Kind of, I don't know. But then he does this pretty spot-on Alfred Hitchcock. Almost photorealistic. Yeah, I just like his style a lot. So he goes to the Hot Spot, and he meets Hope. Racine doesn't work there anymore, but Hope does. So Hope informs him that Miss Fatale's totally lying. She's not Racine's cousin. She's her employer. She runs a very high-class prostitution establishment. And Racine used to work for her. So she basically says, I can't really help you. I have no idea where Racine is. But as he's leaving, she throws this book of matches at him. I really like this panel. Really interesting how her hand is outstretched here and her eyes are framed by the fingers. It's a really interesting panel. So when he reaches in his pocket, he sees on that book of matches, it says, meet at Hopper's Diner, 11 p.m. So he takes a taxi back to Miss Fatale's apartment and confronts her with this new information. And she basically says, you know, what does it matter who we are, what we do? I'm still worried about Racine. Someone's after her. She's in trouble, and she needs your help. So as he's leaving her apartment, these guys, kind of looking like cops, come up from behind and knock him out with billy clubs. And he wakes up in this interrogation room. He's all tied up. And these guys are called the Bulls. They're a combination police force militia. They run the streets any way they want. So once again, we realize this isn't quite our world. It's a different city. He kind of mouths off to him, and they beat the shit out of him. He's all messed up here. And basically, they just say, give up on the girl. Get out of it now. Stop looking to Racine, you know. You only get one warning. And then they dump him on the street. We see another one of those billboards. As he's sitting there thinking, it says times like this makes you really want to just pack it up and leave the city. And it's kind of interesting. Also, this city, it never stops raining. It's like the perfect setting for a noir tale, because it's always raining there. He thinks to himself, funny thing is, everybody looks at those damn billboards 100 times a day. Everybody thinks about leaving. Nobody ever does. I can't think of one person who's ever actually left the city. Damn billboards. So he makes it to Hopper's Diner finally and waits for Hope to arrive. But Hope doesn't arrive. Racine arrives, looking very much like Brooke Shield. But that's pretty amazing, like how photorealistic that is. She says, can we talk somewhere private? So Vincent takes her back to his office. And we see a little foreshadowing here. We see this guy lurking behind this partition. So basically she says she knew a lot of things by working for Miss Fatale. You know, she had to sleep with politicians, police chiefs, but she learned dangerous things. And she knows a little too much. People want her dead for what she knows. And then all of a sudden, look at this panel. That's amazing. She's in the mid-sentence. She's just like, oh, God, no. And that assassin comes out and shoots. He shoots Vincent and doesn't kill him, though. And Vincent fires back and kills the guy. See how this is like so photorealistic here. But this is kind of all rough. This guy's kind of weirdly drawn, too. So then Vincent runs down the stairs just to make sure the guy's dead. And he is. When he comes back up, though, Racine's dead, too. I love the look on his face there. It's a great face. So the whole time Racine was talking to him, she was kind of like toying with this key that she had on a necklace around her neck. And all of a sudden he hears sirens, and it's the bulls. They're running up his stairs. Only one way they could have arrived so soon. A smoking gun in my hand, one dead girl in my office. 1 + 1 = 2. I've been set up. So he grabs the key and he escapes down the back stairs. So he goes to find Hope and he says, what is this key for? Well, I'm sorry, I forgot to mention, he tells her that she's dead, that Racine's dead. And then he says, what's this key for? And Hope says she had a safety deposit box at this First City Bank in the blue sector. What's in the box? And she says, information. Blackmail information. Then all of a sudden, this car peels around the corner. It misses Vincent. And as he looks at the license plate number, he recognizes it. It's a Bold Cruiser. And when he looks back for Hope, the guard got her. She's dead. So he goes to the bank, opens the safety deposit box, and I guess it contains all this proof that Mayor Carter's basically murdered his predecessor. It was like a coup d'etat, and all the proof's there. It seems like the city's so corrupt they wouldn't even care, though. So he goes back to Miss Fatale's apartment once again, and he tells her the whole story. Basically that, Racine was murdered because she found all this stuff out. He says, unless I miss my guess, Carter's had to have been one of your clients, one of Racine's regulars. And then all of a sudden, Mayor Carter's comes in with two of his bulls behind him. And he basically says, I guess I should thank you. You led Racine right to me. And he also reveals that Ms. Fatal is his sister, Mona. He actually owns this hospitality house. His sister just managed it for him. He says that Racine wasn't much of a team player, not a very good blackmailer either. And then he kind of is like kissing his sister's neck. So Vincent knows that Carter's just gonna kill him anyway. So he's gonna go down firing his gun. Pulls his gun out. The bulls pull out their machine gun. And he gets both Carter's and Mona, his sister. And the little boy saying, Mommy, Daddy. And the bull's machine gun fire propels him out the window. He thinks to himself, somehow I'm still conscious when I hit the ground. I know it won't hurt for very much longer. I look up one last time, and that's when I see it. It's that billboard again, or one of those billboards. Its colors fill my eyes, beautiful, tempting, like nothing I've ever seen before. I want to go. I want to leave this city. I close my eyes, and I can still see the colors. I finally understand how to get there. Fade to black. That's pretty bleak. So that really does the noir justice, you know. You can't really have a happy ending in a good noir tale. But yeah, I really like this comic. It's such an odd little comic. It's so weird. The art, the writing, and I would love to see more by these guys, but I don't think they've ever did anything. So I hope you guys enjoyed looking at this this quirky little comic, and I hope to see you next time here at the Herculespetix Academy of Comic Book Studies.